Mrs. Tripp again. I'm here to continue the conversation around ancient Greece. In our last lesson, we talked about how the geography impacted this region, ancient Greece, and how specifically the mountains, while protecting the people from foreign invasion, it really caused groups of people to be isolated and really prevented them from uniting as one nation. This, of course, led to thousands of city states in the region. The map in front of you just shows a few of the city states that were created, and two that we're actually going to look at next week are on the map. One is Athens, right here, and the other is Sparta, right here. And we're going to learn a lot more about them next week. Now, through your vocabulary, you already know that a city-state was also called a polis. And this is where we get the word metropolis or metropolitan. You may have heard the term the Detroit metropolitan area. That would include the city of Detroit and the surrounding communities. The city-states were very independent, obviously, because they were isolated, so they had to create their own government and economic system. But they really were more than just the city. So much like Detroit metropolitan area includes Detroit and its surrounding areas, a city-state included the city and all of the surrounding villages, the fields, the orchards. Now, while they are different. They have their own systems of government, their own economic system. There are some features that they all had. And one of those features that can be found in a city state is an agora. That is a marketplace. And it's more than just a place you go to purchase things that you need, much like we would consider going to the market, or if you've ever been to Eastern Market, downtown Detroit, to get some really good stuff that they have there. It's more than that because in the Agora, it also served as a public meeting place for Greeks. And they would gather together and discuss their grand ideas about government, their thoughts on philosophy. It really was a way for them to share their ideas. Each city state also had an acropolis, and that's another vocab word, and that means a fortified hill. And the acropolis was at the center of the city. Each acropolis at the top of it um, would often have the city's religious center, and it was usually like a temple for their local god. The picture that you can see shows modern day Greece, and you can see the ancient ruins up here. They are still there in Greece. And if you get a chance to get to Greece, definitely check them out. This drawing is of what it would have looked at like during ancient Greece. Here you have the Acropolis up here, and this is most likely the Angora. Now, another thing, obviously, all the city states are going to have their people. And there are some similarities in that within the city state, there is going to be different groups of people. Now, one group of people in every city state are their citizens. And this is usually a small part of the actual population living within the city state. And all the different city states will have like a different qualifications for what makes you a citizen. But generally, the citizens are going to be the free men who were born in that city state and own land. And these citizens are going to have rights that the rest of the people do not have. And one right they're going to have is to vote. Now, this graphic here, I actually found in the Pearson text, and it's a really good example of how the groups of people are broken up in ancient Greek society. And at the top part, it shows you the free people. And here you have your citizens, your aristocracy, those are your nobles or your warriors. You have then, like your small farmers or tenant farmers. They're all men here. And then the other free people are the non citizens, and those are listed here. You have women and children who are born to citizens, but you also have what is called the resident aliens. And what that means is that they're foreigners who now live there. The citizens, of course, have different rights than the non citizens. But all of these people found in the free part have more rights than the not free. And the not free in Greek society were the people who were slaves. And the slaves were people who were um, captured in battles, or they're people who were born to a slave. Now, I just want to quickly touch base on the types of government found in ancient Greece only because it's in your reading for today, just a little bit. But really, next week, we're going to go into great depth on the types of governments there. The three types of governments I have listed that you will find in these city states are an aristocracy, and that's going to be ruled by the nobility. And nobility are the people who have great wealth and privilege. Another form is democracy, and that is a government where the citizens have some say in their government. They have power in their government. But remember, that doesn't mean all the people, it just means those people who are considered citizens, free men who own land, who were born in that city state. And finally, the last form is an oligarchy. And an oligarchy is where there are like a small group of wealthy people and they hold all the power and they're making all the decisions. But really, next week, we're going to get into a lot more information about the different types of government in the city states of ancient Greece. Okay, so for today, you are going to read the two sections in lesson one e-text. Um, they are titled The Trojan War and Emergence of City States. And now these are the last two sections in lesson one. So when you pull up lesson one, please just keep hitting the next button until you get to the page that's titled The Trojan War. And you'll read it and complete the guided notes for both of these sections. And that guided notes sheet is shared with you on Google Classroom. Okay, well, I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Please reach out to your teacher if you have any questions on today's assignment or today's lesson.